that perhaps either A, they're out of the loop, or B, they've been told lies along while trying to stay in the loop. We'll tell you what we mean here coming up here on X's and Bros. First, a really fun night of viewing. Red Wings use overtime to beat the Maple Leafs 2-1. A lot of people think a 1-1 game is a boring game. I don't. Detroit with the number of shots, Toronto with the number of shots. John Gibson was the best player on the ice, made 30 saves, 7th straight win, his 20th win overall. There were people on social media saying I owe him an apology because they thought he was trash early on. Look at what he has done. He has been a massive reason why the Red Wings are as successful as they are. He's the number one goalie. He's one of the best goalies in the league. How many people would have thought that after the very beginning of the season? The talk about the Red Wings at the beginning of the year was pretty simple. It was, you need goaltending and you need some additional scoring. And the goaltending came in the form of a trade with John Gibson from Anaheim. If you look at his numbers, 2.68 goals against average, nothing special. That's 23rd in the league. I don't have a tendency to look at goals against. I look at save percentage. His save percentage is 24th in the league at 90.4%. But when you look back, the bottom line is winning. It's kind of like pitching, right? The bottom line is all about winning. Well, John Gibson, after starting so poorly, and it was a really ugly start. He gave up 5 goals to Montreal on opening night, and then he won a couple in a row, but he wasn't steady. He looked bad in a 3-game losing streak, not once, but twice. He lost 3 games in a row to Anaheim, Vegas, and Chicago. After a win against Anaheim, he then lost 3 more in a row to Buffalo, the Islanders. Remember, he gave a back-to-back 5-goal games, all right? And then to Tampa, another 5 goals allowed. It was a 6-3 final for Tampa. But John Gibson, over that 3-game stretch, allowed 15 goals. Something happened. Something happened in a win over Boston, even though he gave up 4 goals. And you started to say, okay, hopefully he has turned the corner. Think of that for just a moment. A stretch in which John Gibson surrendered 4-2 in a win, 5-5-5, 4-3. 7 games in net, and a guy gives up 26 goals. That is horrific. But something did click, and now he lost to Carolina, and he's lost since to Pittsburgh. But overall, that's it. Over that stretch, over the last 2 months, he's been arguably the best goalie in the National Hockey League. And that's hard to fathom, but it's true. And he's been a primary reason why they've been on such a nice little roll here. And he was the reason they won, I think the number one reason they won last night in a very entertaining game. Dylan Larkin buries the overtime game winner. It's his 3rd OT winner of the season. It's the 12th overtime winner of his career. That ties Sergei Fedorov, whose number just got retired. Not suggesting 71 goes up there, but whose number just got retired for the most in franchise history. Who would have thought that? Started by a beautiful play, by the way, a steal and then a pass from Mo Seider, who some have argued has been the most physical and one of the best defensive players, one of the best defensemen in all of hockey. Now, you got to be careful there because when you get into, defensemen, it starts with, Makar and probably ends with Makar, but there's only, a few of those guys, very few in all of hockey. Brent Burns has had a really nice, Colorado's defensive pairing of Burns and Makar have been unbelievable. They've got 57 points combined on the year, 29 for Burns and 28 for Makar. Anyway, Simon Edvinsson had his 6th goal of the season. Wings, by the way, 4-0 against Toronto this year, and they're back at it tonight. when they take on Minnesota in what should be a really good game because Detroit has 66 points. That's tied with Carolina and Tampa for most in the East. Minnesota has 65 points, which is second most in the West. Colorado has more. All right. Pistons lead start to finish, and they knock off the Pelicans on the road in New Orleans, 112-104, and they do it without Cade Cunningham, and they do it without Karis LeVert, who stepped forward. Well, I don't know if Jalen would you consider Jalen Duren stepping forward? I wouldn't, because he's been this steady all season long.
That's kind of his norm. It's become his norm. Yeah.
It's a really positive sign.
Steady double guy who's a rim protector as well.
Yeah, I look, he's been a double guy the last 2 years. This is a different double, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not all equal, of course.
Right. What he has done this year and expanding his offensive game has been really impressive. Is it where you want it to be? No. Okay. Is it as far out as Hakeem Olajuwon back in the day? No. Didn't expect that. Young guy, as I've said, tough to stay patient, but very efficient, right? 7 for 11 on the night. Also grabbed 15 rebounds and was a plus 13. Nobody was better than Duncan Robinson, who was a plus 20 on the floor. And maybe I read too much into that statistic. Robinson added 15, by the way. Dennis Jenkins had 17 in a starting role. Pretty impressive. But I love what Jalen Duren has become. I mean, he's an 18-11 guy. The numbers aren't that far off, Trent, from what we've seen in the past from him. Last year, what was he, 12 points per game, I think?
Yeah, sounds about
right. And
right.
10 rebounds. But his sophomore season, he was a 14 and 11 and a half guy. What I like most right now is his shot selection and his willingness to actually shoot the ball. He's averaging a career high in field goal attempts, and he's been efficient. He's still well over 60%. And as we know, this is a team that doesn't shoot the free throws very well. Jalen Duren it's not great. It's at 71%, but I do think it's the second best in his career because his sophomore year, I think it was around 79%. Didn't get to the line quite as often. Needs to do that. Last night he went 6 for 6. So those are all really important, I think, numbers as you move forward with him. Detroit has won 4 straight. They've won 7 of 8. They're the best team in the East, not just because their record tells you so, but because they have found a way to win even without some of their big dogs, without Cade Cunningham, without Jalen Duren in there, without Tobias Harris in there, without Karis LeVert or Duncan Robinson. They have won games without those guys. I don't want to say they don't need everybody, but the depth on this team has been really impressive. So love what's going on with all of that. It's a little bit of a baseball news. The Yankees have re-signed Cody Bellinger, 5 years, $162.5 million. The 30-year-old has an opt-out. This is the new thing in baseball. Well, maybe it's not new, but it's the going rate right now with a lot of players. They want opt-outs so they can get another kick at the proverbial can. He's got an opt-out after the second year and the third year. All right. 29 homers, 5 WAR last year, which was good, but it's the best since his MVP campaign in 2019. That's overspending. The Yankees overspent for Cody Bellinger. That's a team that, we need that type of body. I think that's way overpriced for a guy like that. Here's our poll question of the day. Why don't we get to that on the other side? A quick timeout. This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network, and we're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Step into luxury this January with a $275,000 Escalade giveaway at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 2 lucky guests will win $250 in premium play and 250 bonus entries every hour. And don't miss the grand finale on January 30th and 31st at 11 p.m. One lucky winner each night will drive away in a 2026 Cadillac Escalade. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Thanks for listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
I think our confidence and, we go down a couple goals, we don't fold, or we're up a couple goals in the third period. We're able to hold on and really weather the storm. I think previous years we've sat back a lot and, been hemmed in our zone a lot in the third period. And this year we have the confidence to close out those games.
That's Alex DeBrincat. That's before the 2-1 overtime win over Toronto last night. That was him on TNT. And I love that answer from the question came from the panel. And it was,
I think it was Chris Chelios who asked the question, right?
Yeah, it was Chris Chelios who asked the question. And he asked him, the difference between this year and last year. And then, of course, you get, Paul Bissonnette calling himself a nickname, and Anson Carter, who I like, but calling himself a nickname. I can't figure that one out. Hey, it's Ace. Who? Ace. Who? Anson Carter. Oh, okay, thanks. Anyway, DeBrincat and the Red Wings have amazing confidence right now. Winning does that to everybody, of course. But you remember, at least from a fan base standpoint, it was not quite this time of the year, but maybe a little bit later on, maybe in early February, where people just started to see a little bit of a meltdown. Now, the difference between this year and the past couple of years where they were vying for playoff possibility is they were at the bottom. This year, they're at the top. Last year and the previous year, they weren't as deep. And you notice that's the second time I've mentioned depth when talking about the Wings or the Pistons. Both these teams are very deep, but they also have key players among the best at their positions in a few different spots. Mo Seider is one of the best defensemen in hockey. John Gibson has been playing like one of the best goalies in hockey. And their power play, even their second line power play, like power play, you want to score goals, obviously, but a lot of it's generating chances. I mean, Alex DeBrincat, midway through the third, had 5 shots on net. Detroit's power play held the puck in the zone for the most part. Now, it wasn't always, successful. It's not like they're scoring, 5 power play goals on the night, but it's a team that's generating chances. And at least what a lot of coaches will tell you is that's the start of it. You have to be able to generate some chances. Detroit's using the body more. They are shooting the puck a lot more often. All right. And they are getting scoring up and down the line. And because of that, this is the question we ask you. We ask you on the Mitch Lanswell poll question, which Red Wing has surprised you most? Newest Red Wing is probably what I should write. But it's John Gibson. It's James Van Riemsdyk, who I love, man. I mean, I think he's been awesome for this team. It's been special. He's been a really good distributor of the puck. He has taken the body, and you can tell the influence he's had in that room. He's already got 13 goals and 22 points. Now, the plus minus is a little concerning, but he's been better than you thought. Emmett Finney, a rookie, and Axel Sandin-Pellikka, who I think started out like a floppy bass out of water on defense, but has been much better as of late. And with defensemen, as much as you would love to see, a lot of points, you're probably not going to get a ton. You need to see the plus minus. You can't be a heavy minus on the team. And yet that's what he is. He leads the team in a negative way, or he's the worst on the team, I should say, in plus minus. He's a minus 17. So anyway, I think I know what the answer is going to be. It's probably a pretty easy question, but I do think it's worth looking at the rookies as well and how close people are paying attention to the Red Wings. So which which new Red Wing has surprised you most? Gibson, Van Riemsdyk, Finney, or Sandin-Pellikka? So really good stuff from the Red Wings and the Pistons last night. Love what's going on there, and love what a lot of these guys are showing you that can be a long-term situation. This is also this came up during the TNT broadcast last night as well. They have the most cap space, Detroit does, in the National Hockey League. And that means they're going to be in, this was also on TSN, I believe, they're going to be in on a trade. Something's going to happen, and we're pretty confident of that. In fact, Anson Carter asked Alex DeBrincat about that. He says, look, we talk about it on the bus every once in a while, but, we're going to win with the guys that we have right now, which is a pretty standard answer, but a good answer. It's a safe answer. So the Red Wings have a lot of cap space. They can go out and get a Dougie Hamilton, who we talked about yesterday or 2 days ago. They could be in on the Artemi Panarin situation. But somebody in Canada brought up a very interesting name, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. And I know there's a limited number of people who really love hockey, and I get it. I mean, you bring up Pistons and people start talking about it left and right. You bring up the Lions, it's easy to talk about. Same thing with the Tigers. Hockey's a little different. All right. Nashville is a team that has lost back-to-back games, but they're a 500 hockey team. Okay. Some things have not worked out for Nashville. However, one thing that has been pretty good for them this year is the play of Steven Stamkos from a goal-scoring standpoint. Stamkos has 21 goals to lead the Nashville Predators. Steven Stamkos has a history, of course, with Steve Yzerman. The age is somewhat concerning at 35. Panarin's 34. Panarin's more productive with the Rangers than Stamkos is with the Preds. And he's a minus 13, which is a little concerning as well. But Steven Stamkos does have that history. He's going to give you about, 17 and a half, 18 minutes a night. At least that's what he's giving Nashville. I think they need another scorer, and I think most importantly, I think they need a second line defenseman. If you ask me what is Detroit's main priority, I love their pairing of Seider and Edvinsson. It's hard to beat those guys. They are both big, they're both strong, they're both physical, and they both have a long reach. That is an absolute nightmare in the playoffs for other teams when those guys are on the ice. Dougie Hamilton is very similar to that. You pair him, right-handed shot, with Ben Sherratt, left-handed shot, and you're in really good shape. Now, he makes a lot of money. He makes $9 million a year. Detroit's got the cap space. That's the guy I'd like to see them get. That's just my opinion, all right? As far as the scoring standpoint, Stamkos makes a lot of money too. So that's a little concerning for a 35-year-old. But he's got a contract that's going to keep him with you as well. Panarin's a free agent after this year. All right? Pettersson, who makes more than any of your forwards, I believe. Pettersson from Vancouver, he's younger. He's 27. He's a big guy, but he doesn't have the production. So that's where the hard thing for a general manager is these days, or at all times. How is that guy going to fit in? Who do I play him with? And will his numbers jump because of the line on which he's playing? That's something Steve Yzerman's going to have to figure out. The good news is we should all feel really confident in this regard. The good news is this team's going to make a move. Not because they have to, but because they recognize that they're good this year. They're better than they've been the last 2 years. They're deeper than they've been the last 2 years. They can play with teams in the Eastern Conference. They can play with teams that are bigger and physical. They can win different ways. This will allow them to do that. And they have, let's face it, they have some incredible players, you guys. You look at the Olympics, okay? ESPN came out with the top 50 players in the Olympic hockey tournament, okay? Lucas Raymond is up there for Detroit. They've got Lucas Raymond among the top 50. He's the highest ranked Red Wing in this situation. They've got, obviously, Dylan Larkin. They've got some other Michiganders, too, which is great, but they're not on the Red Wings. So they've got some pretty cool stuff when it comes down to ranking which players are as good and impactful. Raymond's top 30 is what they have among the Olympians. Dylan Larkin is 34. Mo Seider is 50th. I think he deserves to be a little bit higher than that. but it's kind of a fun thing to. But you're looking through and you're going, wow, a lot of guys representing the state of Michigan, a lot of guys representing the Red Wings. It's great stuff. All right, when we come back, all kinds of issues in the National Football League, one locally and one league-wide. We'll talk about that on the other side of X's and Bros here on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Mitchell Lanswell.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
NFL playoffs. Hey, let's go. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, makes every moment feel bigger. In the postseason, the game shifts fast, and with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay right in that moment. Make every moment matter this NFL postseason with DraftKings. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, you still get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire half, so why bet player props anywhere else? It doesn't make any sense. New customers, here's your shot. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE to turn $5 into $300 bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Additional terms at DKNG.com/audio. Limited time offer. Okay, 35 after the hour. Welcome back. X's and Bros. Monday through Friday here on the Michigan Sports Network. We're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth, MitchLyonsWealth.com on a Tullymore Thursday. Just to put a capper on the Red Wings, I love what Dylan Larkin said after the game. He said, I think there's a shift mentally with our team. Winning is fun. Coming to the rink when you're winning is way better than when you're losing. But I think our team is pushing for more and maybe not even satisfied with where we're at. That is the right attitude, especially by your captain. A lot was made of last year when he came out and was a little disappointed that they didn't make a move at the trade deadline or more aggressive at the trade deadline. Steve Yzerman came out, said something about it. It seemed like there might have been a little bit of a rift. That's us reading into it. Sure doesn't seem like that anymore. I'm not saying Dylan Larkin has made the difference with Steve Yzerman, the mindset. But we're trying to figure out, we've said this on this show, on whether or not Dylan Larkin is a true number one center, because we want to compare him to Connor McDavid and, players like, Nathan McKinnon and the like, or Austin Matthews. It's not always fair. Those who say he is, here's their argument, and it's a legitimate argument. He was in the Four Nations and was one of Team USA's best players. He's on the Olympic team. There's only 3 players from the Red Wings who are on the Olympic team. Okay? Lucas Raymond, Mo Seider, and Dylan Larkin. He's been pretty damn good, man. He's leading the way. Maybe, just maybe, at the time last year during that trade deadline, maybe he was saying something that other people in the room were whispering. And he was able to stand up and say something on behalf of his team. I don't know the answer to that, but that is a possibility. And sometimes that's what leadership is. It means you've got to be willing to say something that not everybody would be willing to say or what others want to hear. But it's been a really good one, good season for him and the Red Wings, and I'm happy for them. Via text, we get caught. I'm telling you, man, we get caught up in certain things that we just will not let go. We just don't let them go. Freddie, Texas. New Orleans is a G League team. Jalen Duren playing like he did the last 2 years, double-double. Fans see him or others play against a G League team. Fans lose their marbles. Difference is he's pissed the Trajan didn't extend him, so he's dunking more, and he's getting more lobs from his boy Cade. Fans are going to pee away a year because they don't think they need a superstar shooter as a Robin. Okay, I don't think that's the case. Let's be careful. There's time left in the trade deadline. The Pistons might make that deal. I'd be surprised if they don't. That's number one, because they got a chance to win the East. Legitimate chance. And without hurting the core group. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I get you don't like Jalen Duren. Okay? The dude's going to be an all-star this year. What is it that he has to do to prove to you he's worthy? He's taking more shots, but it's only 11 a game. He's shooting 63% from the floor. He's a guy who is doing a nice job at the free throw line for the most part. Not many big guys, for some reason or another, shoot the free throws all that well. But he's, over 70%. You'd like him above, I don't know, for a big guy, probably above 76, 77%. So I'd like to see him more. It's not like he doesn't have flaws in his game. He absolutely does. What is it that he's got to do to make you not diss him when he actually is performing well? When he performs well, you say the other team is garbage. When he doesn't perform well, you say that he's not good enough. He can't do anything to impress you. He can't do anything to change your mind. This is the perfect example of people unwilling to change their minds. I'm stuck. I've made up my mind. It's over. I had a debate with somebody yesterday about this. He is a massive Jared Goff fan. That's fine. I like Jared Goff. Trent, you like Jared Goff?
Sure do.
Okay. Yeah. He cannot give Jared Goff a compliment without ripping on Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford couldn't get it done here. Why do people like him? My comment to him was, I don't get it. Why do you have to tear one guy down to prop your guy up? Why can't you just say both have been really good? Why can't you can't admit that Matthew Stafford is an MVP candidate? You can't admit that Matthew Stafford's been really good as a Super Bowl winning quarterback? You can't admit that Matthew Stafford was a very good, you want to say very good, borderline great player? He never won in the playoffs. Neither did Calvin Johnson. He said Jared Goff saved this city. A little extreme, okay? He turned around two franchises, the Rams and the Lions. So nobody else had anything to do with the Lions' success. Amon-Ra St. Brown had nothing to do with it. Jahmyr Gibbs had nothing to do with it. His comment was Matthew Stafford was given a number 2 defense, and he still couldn't win. Do you know how many times the Lions' defense was ranked in the top 15 while Stafford was here?
Once.
Twice.
Oh,
okay.
Ranked
13th.
What was the other year?
As well. It was 2014, and I forget the other one.
Yeah, 2014 was the number 2 defense. That was a fun year. But
yeah, number 2 scoring, number 3 in total yards. And I think they were 13 in another year. But either way, it was 2. I said, do you know how many times he's had a top 15 running game while he was here? The answer to that is none. And I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just giving you facts because he talked about the defense. Jared Goff hasn't had the greatest defenses here either. But when he first came here, that offense ranked 20th in the league. After his first year, they ranked 25th. Now they have been a top 5 offense over the last 4 years. And he's a good player, and I like him. How many teams out there are saying we got to have a guy like Jared Goff? Nobody. And that's not a knock on him. It's just the fact is that there's no other team out there going, I'm searching for the next ... There's a lot of teams out there that say we need a guy like Matthew Stafford. Arm strength matters. Cerebral part of the game matters, and Goff has that. Gunslinger mentality matters, and teams' confidence in them. And my final point was, and you don't need to argue these things along, but I said, here's what you can do. Don't take our word for it. Don't take a fan's word for it. Talk to players. Players, especially when they retire, will tell you. By their words, by their actions, by their emotions. You go up and you talk to Nate Burleson, and I was fortunate enough to work with him for 1 year in the booth. If you talk to Calvin Johnson, if you talk to Rob Sims, if you talk to Dominic Raiola, if you talk to Golden Tate, ask any of them. Don't have to lead them. Hey, just out of curiosity, your thoughts on, and watch them go. That tells you all you need to know. Now, there are players who support Jared Goff for sure. Absolutely they do. But not in the same way. And there's nothing that I want more than Jared Goff to lead the Lions to a Super Bowl next year. Nothing I want more than that. It doesn't mean that I'm automatically going to say he's better than the other guy. That's all. It's okay to say both are good. You can't change this guy's mind. He's made his mind up. It doesn't matter what one guy does from a positive standpoint compared to what the other guy does, even if it were a negative standpoint. Mind is made up. It's very similar in this regard. Okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I just mentioned him, who is the darling of Detroit. Is that fair? Is he one of them?
One of them, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
The touchdown celebrations, the podcast, the dyeing of the blue hair, he's a charismatic guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the podcast. I don't know how many people listen to it.
Well, my generation.
I know you and I listen to it. Okay. I don't listen to the whole thing. Because, yesterday's podcast started with him and his brother, in case people are wondering, they've got the podcast together. Him and his brother are saying, I don't know how I feel about that. Well, the reason I tuned in is because I want to hear how you feel. But anyway, he has, in his latest episode, they started talking about last week's divisional playoff games. Then a little bit of a preview into the AFC and NFC championship games that are taking place this weekend. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown dipped into the hiring of Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. As he talked about this, he said, I had to look him up on Wikipedia, of all places. Like, if we knew somebody in radio, would you not call the radio station's program director? Trent, hey, do you know this guy? He's in Grand Rapids. Yeah, let's talk about it. You go to Wikipedia. If you're an NFL player, you got to go to Wikipedia to look up an offensive coordinator. You don't know anybody on the Cardinals to talk to about this. You don't know any coaches associated with this guy. You don't even talk to former coaches you may have worked for. Anybody in that's a league that is built on a fraternity. You got to go to Wikipedia to look this dude up?
I don't really know if he necessarily wanted like background or anything about him. He just wanted to know what his position was, like where'd they get him from. I think that's simply what he wanted to know.
Well,
I could be wrong, but that's how I took it. I don't think he meant like I want to know all about this guy.
What?
Because
he knows Wikipedia.
He knows.
How about NFL.com? How about looking up statistics? It just, to me, it's a lazy way of going about it. It's ridiculous. All right. You should be able to pick up the phone and ask somebody right away within your network. And it's a deep football network. You've had guests on your podcast. You've been guests on podcasts. You should be able to call somebody and say, hey, just out of curiosity, Trey McBride. Hey, just out of curiosity, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, but I guess this is my point, Shep. Like, how do we know he didn't? I think he just wanted to know where he was first, and then maybe that pointed him in the right direction.
I'll tell you how you know you didn't, because Dan Campbell called him and told him, and he said immediately, I looked up Wikipedia. That's how we know. We know because he said it. If you listen to the podcast, that's what he said. And then he says this about Lions fans on why you have to be careful, and maybe, just maybe, why you shouldn't have your own podcast, or at least open this door. Play it.
Do you guys have no trust in Dan? In the Lions, you think they would just hire a random dude? Be for real. You think they don't know what they're doing? They don't do the research. They don't interview. Most of you guys don't know really much about anything, about any ball. And you're tweeting about a coach that was hired that you guys don't like because of XYZ. It's just funny to me to see. Don't get me wrong. I love all Lions fans, but they are so quick to make judgments about who we hired, who we did this. Relax.
Okay. Every fan base does that. Doesn't make it right, by the way. So he's right in that regard. Every fan base does it. That's number one. Number two, you're quick to judge or quick to react. And do you not trust this front office, this regime? Hold on a second, man. This regime, this fan base trusted this regime with John Morton. Did it work? I'll wait for the answer on the other side. I'm on Amon-Ra St. Brown. This regime trusted, or this fan base trusted this regime around the trade deadline. Did it work? I'll wait for the answer. Amon-Ra St. Brown. This fan base trusted this regime with the draft picks that haven't worked out from 2 years ago, like Enos Rakestraw in the second round. How has that worked out? This fan base trusted this regime in the offseason when it re-signed guys like Marcus Davenport instead of somebody else who can get after the passer and actually stay healthy for longer than 3 games at a time. This fan base has trusted this regime since it got into office, and it's earned that trust until some of the most recent egregious lack of action or action that hasn't worked out. So if you expect this fan base and media to just blindly follow these people for no reason whatsoever because of what has recently taken place, then what city are you in?
That's not what he's asking them to do, though.
Playing?
He's just asking them to calm down. How in the world
do you think this fan base should just trust people because you hired Drew Petzing when last year you hired John Morton? The fan base also trusted you when you hired Anthony Lynn and he didn't work out. This fan base trusted you with Kelvin Shepard as the defensive coordinator, and that didn't really work out. What are you talking about that we should just blindly follow people after being burned over the last couple of years at the most important times? Why would you go on your own podcast and sit there and degrade the fan base on a stupid comment like that? But he's going to be able to get away with this. And the reason he gets away with it is because people like him, because he's a really, really good player, and he is. But as a captain, this is not what you do, period. And fans probably won't push back on him. Some fans might even agree with him. It doesn't mean that's what you say. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843, via text. St. Brown, when drafted, never spoke other of being drafted than in the fourth or the fourth round. Now he's getting paid. He has a cake made, and he says he never wanted Detroit to draft him. Takes shots at the fans that they don't know anything. He's influenced by accounts that have followers. Nothing has changed with the Lions. So I don't think he said that he didn't want Detroit to draft him. Trent said, and this is right because Trent sent the copy of it via Twitter. Amon-Ra St. Brown said that when he was drafted by the Lions, he was a little disappointed because he knew of their history. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, he didn't come out and just say, I hate that the Lions drafted me, or I'd never wanted to be drafted by the Lions. He just said he was a little disappointed. He wanted to play with an elite quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes. He singled those guys out. He gave a really in-depth answer. And Shep, I sent you the video. We can watch it during the break here in a minute.
Yeah, sounds good. So that's it. Look, it just doesn't change my mind about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like him. I want him on my team for sure. Should he be a captain? Yeah, absolutely. This doesn't mean that this guy is completely bonkers. This guy should be booed every time he steps onto the field. You should never listen to his podcast again. No, it shouldn't. I just think you have to be very, very careful when it comes to a fan base. You may say, and I don't disagree with him, quite honestly, you may say that fans overreact. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But to say they don't know ball and to say that you should trust, do you not think that you do not think you should trust this front office is a little hyperbolic right now. And quite honestly, it's ridiculous because that's exactly what fans have done. And it's a bad look for you to do something like this. And it's going to gain traction. Next year in training camp, that's what people are going to ask him. And they're going to ask his teammates the same thing. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. This hour is brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth on a Tullymore Thursday. We're back after this.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Step into luxury this January with a $275,000 Escalade giveaway at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Every Friday and Saturday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., 2 lucky guests will win $250 in premium play and 250 bonus entries every hour. And don't miss the grand finale on January 30th and 31st at 11 p.m. One lucky winner each night will drive away in a 2026 Cadillac Escalade. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Schools.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Enjoy an entire week of delicious family meals for a good deal better at Meijer. Fresh from Meijer chicken or certified Angus beef ground beef from Chuck's small packs are buy two, get one free. Mix or match. Select varieties of Earthbound Farm organic salad mixes are buy one, get one free. And 12 packs of select Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. Getting more while also saving more. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, second hour of the program. Glad you're with us. This hour on a Tullymore Thursday is brought to you by our friends at Meyer. We are starting to see mock drafts.
Oh, jeez.
I know. Can I just share it with you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's always interesting, but man, it's early.
When I say mock draft, who's the first person you think of?
Mel Kiper Jr.
Thank you. Yeah. I got stuck. I'll be honest with you. I got stuck.
Did you read the whole thing or just the Lions?
No, I read the whole thing, but I watched it yesterday. You know, the build up to the Wings on TNT, and then the Pistons, who played a little bit later, left me some time, and I found the preview on ESPN of the mock draft. And I was a little surprised at the over-the-top reaction sometimes to some of these guys who, look, they do this for a living. So I'm going to give them full marks for that. They put a lot of work into this. I am not ripping on that, but sometimes we go a little overboard. Everybody does. Mel Kiper said he can't think of a recent draft where there is such an obvious pick at number one. I went, wow. I mean, it sounded a little strange to me. He's got Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders. Okay, I guess.
That's
fine.
It's almost a foregone conclusion. Tom Brady was at the game. You know, it just kind of seemed like that was. And if this means anything to you, the Vegas odds are. I mean, it's not even close. He's going to go number one.
But Tom Brady was at the game. But does that mean he's automatically taking him? Or
no, of course.
If you watched him,
yeah.
Would that, maybe he's trying to get convinced.
Yeah, could have changed your mind.
Convinced.
Sure.
Tom Brady might have been at the game no matter what. And he might not be the only person at the game, by the way. I think it's more about this. Who else? It's not as much that Mendoza is the obvious number one. It's who would be the obvious number two. You could have David Bailey. He's the outside linebacker for Texas Tech. You could have Carnell Tate, the wide receiver for Ohio State. I think it comes down to, well, you know what? They need a quarterback. This is why I can't stand drafting for need. You need a quarterback. Not sure if there's anybody else worthy of a number one overall pick, so take the quarterback. I mean, and be honest with you. Who's the tackle out of Miami? How do you say his name? Francis Magoa? Is he going number one? Is he the next Eric Fisher? Probably not.
No.
I think that's what it's about more than anything. He's got a name associated with the Detroit Lions at 17 that I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say that I've necessarily heard. Now, I know Trent watches a lot of Big Ten football just like I do. Okay. Have you ever heard of Olavaeja Ione?
Penn State?
Ioane is how you say his name.
Ioane. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that name. I just remember that name as a graphic on the bottom, and I know he played for Penn State, but I don't know anything about him.
He did play for Penn State. He's a guard. You know me, Trent. I got no problem with it.
Right.
Okay. I can't say that I know the gentleman. I can't say that I know how good or how bad he's going to be. I really don't. They have him based on NFL rankings, prospects, and I went down that rabbit hole yesterday. For the most part, he is ranked the 6th best guard in the draft. And again, I'm not making a judgment here. I'm just giving you some information. Here's what Mel Kiper writes about it. He said Detroit took guard Tate Ratledge in round 2 last year, but there were still issues on the interior. He's right about that. The Lions were the 31st ranked team in pass block win rate at 55.5%. That's a problem. It'd be a problem on any team, wouldn't it? For sure. With all their skill on offense, that has to be fixed. While taking a guard in the first round isn't the most exciting pick, and you and I hope would both agree on this, who cares? You don't have to excite me with skill position players. You excite me by winning. If this guy is all that, if he's as good as you think he is, and this goes back to Amon-Ra St. Brown, do you not trust them? Hey, man, we're forced to trust you on a regular basis when it comes to the draft picks. Hendon Hooker. Remember what Brad Holmes said about Isaac Tesla, my favorite receiver in the draft. And yet he basically had a target a game. So I don't want to hear it. But you're trusting him here. Kuiper writes, while taking guard in the first round isn't that exciting, Eone is extremely talented. Jared Goff would appreciate his ability to sustain blocks and hasn't given up a sack since 2023. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, although Montgomery probably won't be here, will love the way he gets to the second level and moves defenders out of the rushing lane. So it'll be fun to practice how to say the name. Ioane is how you say his last name, if that were to be the case. I guess the question is, knowing that this team needs probably a linebacker in the draft, I doubt they're going to re-sign Alex Anzalone. Not that he wasn't good. He was good, but I find it hard to believe that they would do that. I think if they're not going to draft a linebacker, what they may do is they may sign a guy for a short-term deal, a Devin Lloyd, okay, somebody of that ilk. Would you go out and sign a tackle or a center? Absolutely. We've said this ad nauseum. Tyler Linderbaum is the guy you want, but I bet you there's a lot of teams that would like him, including the team that currently has him, the Baltimore Ravens. You're going to have to restructure deals. That's all the things that those guys will do. And again, let's go back to what Amon-Ra St. Brown asked. Do you not trust these guys? Certain things you do. And trust that they will be able to handle their cap situation, make it where they have freed up some money that allows them to go out and address those needs, not just through the draft. So I think that's a possibility, okay? Who those guys are, I don't know, okay? I don't know what it's going to take. There are a lot of different positions that this team is going to have to address, and you don't have enough draft picks in order to address them all, do you? So knowing that, the best thing for you to do is to do what we just suggested. And, I sure as hell don't have to give them advice. They know exactly what they're doing in that regard, right? So if you get a Tyler Linderbaum, who's only 26, one of the best centers already, has really good years ahead of him, that would be ideal, okay? But if you can't get him, they have a backup plan. I don't know if you're going to address your safety situation with, Brian Cook or Darius Washington or whomever. Those guys are both going to be free agents. They're both safeties. They're both accomplished players. They're going to want longer-term deals. Remember, this fan base also wanted Jalen Phillips, and Jalen Phillips didn't work out for Philadelphia, did he? But if you what if Matt Milano were available? He's going to be 32. Would you get him on a 2-year deal? Yeah, I would take that. Of course, Alex Anzalone is basically the same age. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if they're going to go after a guy like Rasheed Walker at the offensive tackle or they're going to draft one. Either way, they've got more things to fix than I think a lot of people expected originally. Some dumb things being said for a team that's still left in the playoffs and a team that was knocked out of the playoffs. We're going to get to that from the NFL aspect when we come back, brought to you by Meijer right after this.
Enjoy an entire week of delicious family meals for a good deal better at Meijer. Fresh from Meijer chicken or certified Angus beef ground beef from Chuck's small packs are buy two, get one free. Mix or match. Select varieties of Earthbound Farm organic salad mixes are buy one, get one free. And 12 packs of select Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. Getting more while also saving more. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Besides getting wrapped up sometimes in mock drafts, which can be, as you look back at it, why did I waste my time with that type of feeling, right? I can also get caught up, at least with the Lions and looking at free agents. Sometimes that's more interesting to me than the college kids coming out, because you're going to learn more about the college kids. I'm looking more at the free agents and thinking, wow, who would look good in a Lions uniform? There are some names out there. I'm not saying the Lions should be in on this. I'm just saying there's some interesting names out there. Kenneth Walker, is one of those guys. He's only 25. He's a good back. Breece Hall is a free agent. And again, I'm not saying the Lions should be interested. They've got bigger problems than that. But I do find it interesting that, you've got two, I think, pretty dynamic backs. I think Breece Hall's probably a little bit better than Kenneth Walker. I mean, if you're looking for a game changer, he would be it. But if I was in a different market and needed a running back and my team said, we don't have a chance at drafting Jordan Love, so we're going to be out on the running back spot, I think what we'll do is we'll sign Kenneth Walker. I'd be pretty happy. Jaden Love, I said Jordan. Anyway, so speaking of football, I don't know how much you feel on Pro Football Focus. I know we've talked about it. I think Trent collectively rolls his eyes right now during this conversation.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. And I get it. I totally get it. If I said to you, the rookie Pro Football Focus grades measured by snap weighted, I don't know what the hell that means, but you got to have all
this
these
is why,
hyphenated, right?
It means something.
But yeah, based on rookie classes, where do you think the Lions rated?
Out of 32, I guess.
Out of 32 rookie classes, and I'll give you a quick, Miami's rookie class was dead last. Where do you think the Lions ranked?
20,
by Pro Football Focus.
25 or lower.
You're not even close.
Where were they?
Third.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Bears were number 1. Carolina was number 2. And the Lions were number 3.
How the hell is that possible?
Based on Pro Football Focus rookie snaps, okay? Weighted rookie snaps. That's what it is.
Okay, so I guess Tyleek Williams must have graded out pretty well there. Tate Ratledge.
I think what it is, Trent, it's the amount of snaps that they play.
Oh, you know who probably bumped that way up is Isaac Tesla. Because if it's based on his snaps.
I think Tate Ratledge, he was in there. He played every snap.
I know, but I think the weighted part, I could be wrong here. I have no idea. But it's just, I feel like that means it's relative. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to scale almost. So the fact that Tesla didn't play a ton of snaps, but his numbers were insane for the snaps that he played, maybe that's what brought the Lions grade up. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So here's just when I read this was my thought. Tate Ratledge played 99% of the snaps. Okay. That's pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in other words, he was available for your team every single game. Now, you said Isaac Tesla didn't play many snaps. He did. The difference is he was playing a lot of special team snaps. Okay. So when you look back at it and you say, oh my gosh, the snap count, he's at, from a special team standpoint, he played some snaps. From an offensive standpoint, he played only 40%. He only played 40% of the snaps. If I said to you, who played more, Isaac Tesla or Tyleek Williams, who would you say?
I mean, I would have guessed Williams.
Okay, well, then you're right.
Yeah.
Because he played just a little bit over 40%, which is a little surprising to me. So when you look at that and you see your first round pick and your third round pick playing those few percentage of snaps, and you see that Miles Frazier, your fifth round pick, and your sixth round pick, Hassanin, hardly play at all, where do you think the percentage comes from? It comes from Tate Ratledge. 99%. That's where it's weighted a little bit. That to me was a little strange. But anyway, surprise, and maybe I don't know what you read into that. But
yeah, I guess my initial guess of 25 or lower was more based on I guess I'm poisoned by how negative the commentary around this Lions draft class has been. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yes,
maybe in the big picture, it wasn't really that bad, but it was just the expectations were set pretty high.
Yeah, I think what it tells you is, first of all, Ratledge playing as much as he did, and he really had a decent season. It wasn't great. It wasn't Pro Bowl-esque.
But he was available.
I think this guy's going to be one of the best guards, and I've forgotten Kevin Zeitler, but he was a good player. Tesla makes you think, I want to know why he didn't play more, and Williams makes you think, why or what did you see in this guy that made you think he was a first-round pick? That's the way I looked at it anyway. I think Miles Frazier is going to end up being a decent player. So let's hope. And he's probably more of a guard than a tackle in the NFL. All right. Teams that are still playing. There's only 4. You know that. In the AFC, Denver's going to host New England. I'm going to take New England in that. Yes, it's primarily because of Jarrett Stidham, but I could be surprised. Remember, before the season began, there was that, he's not a hypnotist, but he's like this magic guy. I don't know. He's this predictor. He goes into various football camps, and he went to the Rams camp before the year. You know what he had? He plays this game. He brings Matthew Stafford up here. Who are you picturing? He asked Devontae Adams to stand up without Stafford knowing. He says, you're throwing a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. Who are you throwing it to? He says, Devontae Adams. He says, turn around. I had him stand up. And Stafford's like, well, that's not really going on.
It's
on
not a toughie. Yeah.
That's not a long reach at all. He says, okay. So then he has Devontae Adams write down a score. And then he gives the ball to Stafford. He says, who you throwing it to? Throwing it to Kyron Williams. And then who you throwing it to? I'm throwing it to that guy back there. He says to Devontae Adams, after this guy writes down the number on a whiteboard, he said, what's the number on your hand? He said 23-14. He turns it around. He guessed 23-14. He says to Stafford, you just threw it to number 23 and number 14. He had the Rams playing the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
Isn't that kind of scary?
It is.
It's kind of scary.
It's wild. It's wild.
Like, wow.
But let me just say this about the Rams. And as good as they are, and I thought their defense was really good against Chicago. You have to admit that, right? So they were a little leaky against Carolina. They were a lot better against Chicago. How are they going to be against Seattle? I don't think that's as much in play as how is the Rams offense going to handle that outstanding Seattle defense. But a year ago, if you recall, Jared Verse, who I think is an outstanding player, said he hates Eagles fans. That was before the Rams went to Philadelphia and lost 28-22. This year, you have another Rams player saying something, and it's Cam Curl, who had a really good game against Chicago. He says about Seattle, since this will be the 3rd meeting of the year, and you could make the argument that the Rams should have won the previous 2. They split the first 2. The last game against Seattle, in Seattle, the Rams were up 16 points going into the 4th quarter and lost the game. Cam Curl said, we don't think about that last game too much. Seattle got lucky and won it in the end. I feel like we're the better team. It's going to be a dogfight. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't think he should have said they got lucky, but I think everything else is fine. It's a dogfight.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with you being confident.
Yeah, same.
I wonder why players. Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think emotion is part of sports?
Of course.
Okay. Now, I don't mean just you and your brother at a Lions game.
Yeah, players.
I mean, you. Okay. For how long it lasts is up to the individual
and coaches too.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, Ben Johnson wouldn't have shaken the quick hand of Matt LaFleur and got the hell out of it.
You're right.
So I do believe there's emotion. This gives Seattle the added emotion. I'm not saying it's the reason Seattle could win, but it helps a little bit, don't you think?
Bulletin board material, if you will.
I think there's something to that. I don't think it's the be-all, end-all, and I don't think a team goes through the entire game going, God, I can't believe what Trent Bally just said about us. I'm going to take it out on. No, I don't think so. But I do think there's an intensified seriousness to it, an intensified focus. I don't understand why you do something like this. Just like I don't understand why a certain owner said what he said about a current player that he has and a past coach that he just fired. We'll get to that when we come back on X's and Bros after this on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Meijer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Hey, DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of the NFL. It makes every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay right in that moment. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, you still get paid in cash, by the way, in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire half. Why bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your chance right now. Bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code HUGE. That's HUGE to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bets must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Additional terms at dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. Back with you here on X's and Bros. Thanks for being with us on a Tullymore Thursday, and we're brought to you this hour by Meijer. I'm always amazed. I really am, and I'm sure you are too. I'm amazed at how some people can be so successful in one area, successful enough to own not one, not two, but 3 professional franchises, like a Terry Pegula. He's got more money than anyone knows what to do with. It's amazing. One of the richest men in the world. He owns the Buffalo Bills. He owns the Buffalo Sabres. He owns, I think they're called the Buffalo Bandits, their indoor lacrosse team. He built the Penn State hockey arena, Pegula Arena. He throws money around in sports like no problem. Okay. Oh, let me just grab a quick bottle of Gatorade. There's $1 million.
Yeah.
That's kind of who he is. But the Bills went through something very painful yesterday after losing in the playoffs, in which Josh Allen was not good enough. He was really good against Jacksonville to beat the Jags, but he sure as hell wasn't good enough to win on the road in Denver. He turned it over too often. Okay. You can't throw the pick when he did. The one pick is very controversial. I still believe it was a catch. And you sure as hell can't turn it over on fumbling the way he did just before the half and at the beginning of the next half.
The one just before the half was inexcusable.
Agreed. I mean, he's loose with the ball,
yeah.
Trent. I mean, you just can't do that.
Well, it's also a 6-point swing because they were in field goal range. He fumbles it backwards. Now,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And
awful.
Matt Prater's going to make that, right?
Of course
I mean,
he is.
you would think.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was Josh Allen from 2-3 years ago is what it was, Very loose with the ball. You just can't do that. He let his team down. He admitted it. He should have. Sean McDermott gets fired. Terry Pegula said the reason he moved on from Sean McDermott, who had, in 9 years, very successful seasons, wasn't enough to get over the top, but very successful seasons. He's not the one fumbling the football, but very successful seasons. Was the way they played in Denver. That felt like they've just basically hit a door. They've hit a stalemate. I mean, this is the way it goes. It's change for change's sake, and sometimes it's better for everybody involved. People were asking about how the world does Brandon Beane, his general manager, get a promotion, but the coach gets fired. And they started to talk about some of the draft picks, including one Keon Coleman, who was a second-round choice. Here's what Terry Pegula had to say in defending his general manager. Go ahead and play it, Trent.
The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
So here's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that there's video. And I don't know why these folks don't understand that. Maybe they're not on Twitter, which is fine. You know, you don't have to be, but maybe you're not on Twitter. Should you not know what you're talking about from a draft of just a year ago? It was a 2024 draft. Keon Coleman, you should know, played at Michigan State, went to Florida State. He was a second-round pick. He's a big guy, 6'4", 215 pounds, good, has all the makings of a really good receiver. Are you going to judge him yet? I hope not. Okay, it's 2024. This year, we don't have to get into his statistics. The bottom line is they thought he was worthy enough for a guy who probably had a disappointing, I would say he's had a disappointing career so far. You expect more from a second-round wide receiver. The problem is that Terry Pegula is blaming the guy who he just fired, Sean McDermott. Here's what surfaces.
Basically, when I went to bed that night, I was like, it's Keon unless someone just blows us away. We didn't feel anything was attractive enough for us to pass up on Keon.
Barring someone offering us something stupid, we'll take Keon Coleman.
That's Brandon Beane.
Red-handed.
Okay.
Red-handed.
Yep.
And like you said, Shep, like maybe you don't remember you said that, but then that means that at the podium when you said what we played from Pegula to begin with, that's a blatant lie then, because that's not how you felt.
Well, here's the thing. Beane didn't say that. Pegula said that. Okay? Pegula stepped in while Beane was about to answer the question regarding Keon Coleman. The owner stepped in and said, do you mind? Sorry, do you mind if I interrupt? And he took and ran with it. So it tells me one of two things, or maybe two things in general. One is that Terry Pegula, in all likelihood, was told by Brandon Beane at some point, either this year or last, that the coaches pushed for him. Because Pegula obviously doesn't know. And if he doesn't know, he shouldn't be saying. But if he doesn't know, that means somebody else is telling him what to say at the podium. And it's Beane saying, hey, man, the coaches really love this guy. So he's the guy. He was at the combine. There's video evidence of him at the combine, mic'd up, saying, what about the 40 time that he ran? And Beane is saying, I'm glad he ran that. That'll allow him to fall to us. That's how convinced he was that they wanted Keon Coleman in the second round. Terry Pegula obviously didn't know that. Now, I'm not saying everybody in the Buffalo Bills organization should have prepped Terry Pegula for that moment, but if you're going to go out on a limb and you're going to defend the guy you just promoted to president of football operations, and you're telling everybody he didn't want him, the coaches are the ones who pushed him, how else would Terry Pegula form that opinion? It's not like coaches went up to him and said, we really wanted this kid who hasn't worked out very well as a second-round pick so far. That had to have been Brandon Beane at some point telling him, look, the coaches, the reason we took Coleman is the coaches. Remember this. In November, this came out just yesterday, and we talked about it briefly. In November, Pegula, Beane, and McDermott met. This is from a couple of different sources. And the report was that Pegula and Beane didn't like what Sean McDermott had to say about his team. We don't have enough talent. We're not necessarily a Super Bowl contender because we don't have some of the horses. That's his way of saying, you know what? We got to temper our expectations. He's just being honest with them. You may not like it. He didn't say that publicly. He said it privately. You may not like it. That's how he felt. You asked him how he felt about his team, and he's being honest with you. Neither one liked the answer. And I'm taking a stab in the dark here. This is based on experience. Taking a stab in the dark, and this is this. Keon Coleman was one of the specific names that was talked about. We need a big play wide receiver. Trent, if I asked you, what is the weakness of the Buffalo Bills besides allowing guys to run over them on a regular basis in the ground attack?
Receiving core.
Right.
The receivers. I shouldn't even say receiving core because they got damn good tight ends. They need wide receivers.
Yeah, Dawson Knox is really good. I don't disagree with you. I think that's the reason they run 13 personnel so much, or 12
And Dalton
personnel.
Kincaid, yes, both of them.
And Dalton Kincaid went healthy. Yeah, for sure. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, you and I both know, and we're far away from Buffalo. You don't think everybody else recognizes the weakness of that team? What did they think they were getting in Keon Coleman? Again, he's a big receiver. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. Okay? That's a big target. I'm not saying he's Calvin Johnson, but he's a good-sized receiver at 6'4", 215. So you tell me. They drafted him to be a 1 or close to it. There's no Stephon Diggs there. They don't have the Andre Reeds of the past. They are looking for someone to help Josh Allen. Bean wanted him in the second round. He wanted him so badly, he got him in the second round. It hasn't worked out so far. In November, Sean McDermott is saying, you know what? We've said we needed a number 1 receiver. We don't have that right now. We're using a lot of 13 and 12 personnel. We got James Cook, who's been really good. Our offensive line has been pretty damn good. Allen is who he is. He's one of the best players in football. We could shore up some things on the defensive side, but we don't, in general, have the horses. Bean immediately says, after he leaves, you know what he's saying to himself, right? Uh-oh, wait a minute. If things go south, we're not good enough. I'm going to get blamed for this? Coaches really wanted Coleman. This is a bad move. This is an awful look for Buffalo, and it's not going away. How do you make the last job you would want right now would be somebody in media relations for the Buffalo Bills, right? Based on all that stuff. How does this happen? How does an owner, this is perhaps why he hasn't done a press conference in 6 years. Okay? At least that's one of the reports I read. Seemingly 6 years. Don't talk. All these people who want to hear from an owner, this is why many times you try to shield them. They can be as involved as they possibly can, but they're not there on an everyday basis. They can't be, unless it's their only source of income, which for most of them, you would guess it's not. The reason they made their millions, dare I say billions of dollars, is because of their other companies. You've hired certain people, in this case, Brandon Beane, let him run the football team, right? He'll keep you updated on certain other things, but you're not there breaking down film and understanding all the nuances associated with football and associated with the players who play it. This is why. He's there at a press conference saying stuff that he has either A, no knowledge about, or B, been told by somebody else and doesn't have firsthand knowledge of it. I remember earlier this year, somebody, I forget exactly, I don't know if we got a text or a phone call, they were upset that Sheila Ford-Hem wasn't addressing the media. I'm not saying she would do the same thing he did, but this is the door that opens and leads to bigger issues. You let the football people talk about the football. Now, you want to know why you fired somebody, why you fired a head coach, you can make it in a statement. Or if you want to, make it in an appearance in front of the media, but just read the statement.
Yeah, I prefer the way Sheila does things. I think most people would too, unless you like drama.
Yep. Right.
Which I don't. I mean,
which I don't think Buffalo does,
sports.
Trent. I don't think Buffalo wants drama. I don't think Terry Pagula, otherwise he'd be doing it on a regular basis, talking to the media. He just doesn't do it very often. But of course, they haven't made a coaching change in 9 years either. So perhaps that's why. So there's a part of me that also respects him getting in front of the media and saying, listen, this is the reason we moved on. But the more questions you take, the bigger hole you dig.
Right. Trying to take over the question because it wasn't even it wasn't asked to him. Like he tried to take the bullet for Brandon Beane and instead kind of has to stick his foot in his mouth after that. You know, it's a tough look, man.
Suits stained with suits. So he's going to, no, it really is. He's this is not a rerun on TBS. This is real life right there in Buffalo. Think about what Buffalo radio and TV and go read some of the newspaper articles and what they're saying about this situation, how it's an embarrassment, how it's a laughing stock of the National Football League. National guys are all over this. You have shifted. Josh Allen might be really appreciative right now. You have shifted. Why can't this team get over the hump with Sean McDermott, who now looks a lot better, or with Josh Allen, to no wonder they can't get over the hump because you've got these two guys walking hand in hand, reading each other's lies. That's what you have. Now, here's the other thing you wonder about. How does it make other players feel about that team? Well, it can't make them feel very good. You have an owner who's blaming some of this team's poor performance in an indirect way on a 2-year player who you drafted in the second round, who's still on your roster.
I was just going to say, how do you think
on a regular basis, and Brandon Beane in training camp is going to have to deal with that player?
How do you think he feels right now? How do you think Keon Coleman feels right now? He's like, thanks a lot, guys.
He should be pissed.
Yeah, I would be.
Look, you want to tell me that in private? That's fine. You know, I'm a big boy. I can take it. I got to be better. You think I have not lived up to your expectations? I haven't lived up to mine either. Fine.
But when the reports are that reportedly Sean McDermott, one of the reasons he was fired was because he went to management and talked about how this roster is not constructed to win a Super Bowl. And then you basically come out and tell everyone what he's referring to, which was the receiving core. And you drop the name Keon Coleman. You give a specific example.
One specific player you have singled out.
PR nightmare.
PR nightmare from a lot of different angles. If you're a player and you're thinking about going to Buffalo, does that not cross your mind? It has to. On top of that, by the way, all the other players, veterans, Deion Dawkins, Josh Allen, all these other players are looking and listening to this and thinking to themselves, what? This is our leadership? Could you blame any of them saying, you know what? Maybe it's time we go our separate ways. Good song by Journey, right? Maybe that's what you do. Who would blame them? Who wants to be part of an organization where they are publicly pointing fingers at specific players? And you know players stick together for the most part. They are all about themselves. Or, I mean, about themselves as in the guys in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good teams, anyway. Phone number on the Meijer hotline is 866-838-4843. Speaking of great teams, Indiana Hoosiers were just that. They won the national championship. Don Fisher is a friend of mine. He called it all. He's going to join us at 8:18. Stick around for the final hour of X's and Bros on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Meijer.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
It's time to go on the court.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com. Greetings, this is Ed Kongursky. Friday night in Ann Arbor, Michigan will honor former National Player of the Year Trey Burke by raising his number 3 jersey to the rafters at Chrysler Center during halftime of its game against Ohio State. The 6th Wolverine such honor. No one will wear that number quite like Burke, whose skill and leadership guided the Wolverines all the way to the 2013 NCAA title game. His 30-footer against Kansas in the regional semis are what legends are made of. There's no coincidence this ceremony will take place prior to a game against the Buckeyes. Burke was born and raised in Columbus, but never seriously recruited by OSU.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
NFL playoffs. Hey, let's go. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, makes every moment feel bigger. In the postseason, the game shifts fast, and with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay right in that moment. Make every moment matter this NFL postseason with DraftKings. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, you still get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire half, so why bet player props anywhere else? It doesn't make any sense. New customers, here's your shot. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE to turn $5 into $300 bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Additional terms at DKNG.com/audio. Limited time offer.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Enjoy an entire week of delicious family meals for a good deal better at Meijer. Fresh from Meijer chicken or certified Angus beef ground beef from Chuck small packs are buy two, get one free. Mix or match. Select varieties of Earthbound Farm organic salad mixes are buy one, get one free. And 12 packs of select Pepsi products are buy two, get one free. Plus deposit where applicable. Getting more while also saving more. That's the good life at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Final hour of the program. Thanks for being with us on a Tullymore Thursday. We're brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Pistons a winner over the Pelicans last night. They led start to finish, by the way, in a 112-104 win. No Cade Cunningham, no Karis LeVert. Jalen Duren had 20 points, 15 boards. I had this conversation last night with somebody regarding Cade Cunningham, who I think is fantastic. Love watching him play. Missing some games. What's the most games he's ever played in a single season? Any idea?
72.
70. How many games does a player have to play? Or better yet, how many does he have to miss in order for you to start to worry about their injury prone or health in general? How many?
I think if you miss,
how many games a year do you want to see your guys play?
You know what's funny? I'd say at least 70. So I think he's right there. And I just looked this up for kicks and giggles, Shep. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right?
Yeah, 74 is the fewest he's ever played in a single season, a full season, the 2020 year.
Okay, yes. I was just going to read that he's, around in the 70s. That's what he averages per season, right? So
yeah,
you'd like to see more out of Cade, but I'm not going to say the sky has fallen because he only plays 70 games.
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
I know you're not either,
but
you can miss a dozen of games.
But when we talk about players and whether or not they're healthy, like we just brought up Tate Ratledge, played 99% of the snaps, right? That's an important piece. Availability, right? Cade Cunningham has played 64, 12, 62, last year 70. So far, he has played 36 of his team's 42 games. So he's only missed 6 games. Not a big deal, right? Not at all. In fact, I would argue he should have missed another one. A couple of nights ago, when they won, he had 14 assists, no turnovers, 16 points, struggled. I think it was a 4 for 12 shooting night. Part of it has to do with a hand injury, right? He could have easily sat that game out. He didn't. He played in that game. That was the Boston game, right? Yeah, that was the Boston game. So I'll give him kudos for that. But I'm just wondering if this were somebody else, okay? If this were a guy who you were thinking about trading for, or it was a really good player on another team, and they were comparing his game to your players or your favorite player or your team's best player, and they were comparing him to his game, what do you think you would say about that availability? I don't think you would speak real kindly to it. Now, it's probably not a whole lot different. Like Trent brings up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which is the name that I immediately thought of last night. And that's the reason I knew the number off the top of my head. The other name I thought of is Jalen Brunson. Okay. I mean, he's a guy who is viewed as a leader, and he's played 73, 57. That was with Dallas, 68. He gets to the Knicks, 68, 77, 65. So, low 70s is what he's probably averaging. How much of that is because of injury? How much of that is because of load management?
Which is, let's just call it what it is, fear of injury.
Yes.
Otherwise, guys would play through it.
Right. 100%. So I don't know the answer to that with Cade Cunningham. How much is load management? How much of it is true injury? How much of it could he have played for? Is there a reason for him to have played? Probably not. Okay. Not to take anything for granted, but I'd rather have him healthy for a long period of time rather than piece him together every other game.
And if what you're going to do is load management, if you're going to take that approach, these are the games you take off. The Pelicans, right? They're an awful team. So that's one that you feel like you can get away with. And the Pistons sure did, like you said, leading wire to wire.
For sure.
So they're doing it the right way. At least there's a method to the madness. It's not like they're just saying, oh, every third game, Cade's taken off.
Right. Look, it is not unique, you guys. No one's asking you to be AC Green, who played, every single game, every single year of his career, seemingly. But I would just, and this is different. This is a different era. I have to keep reminding myself that. But let me give you this, okay? This player played 82, 79, 82, 75, 80, 82, 77, 79, 72 regularly in his career. Guy averaged 34 and a half minutes a game. It's not like he was a slug. He was a starter. But he's averaging, high 70s in playing. That was Joe Dumars.
Oh, I was going to guess Isaiah.
Right. I just gave you Joe Dumars.
That's fine.
So, yeah, either way. Those
Points
guys,
well taken.
And it's not like I expect everybody to be back in the day. But to your point, you want Isaiah 72, 81, 82, 81, 77, 81, 81, 80, 81, 78, 79.
When a guy plays 81 games in a season instead of 82, that's got to be such a weird feeling. The one game he misses, that he's
also playing 36 minutes a night. It's an underrated part of a player's value in general. Isaiah Thomas, and I get it, he can be controversial. We don't have to get into all the Olympic stuff and all that other crap. But here's what you got from Isaiah Thomas every single night. He's going to give you everything he's got in every game he plays. And by the way, he plays every game. There's 82 games scheduled, all right? And he's playing. What do you want? You want more than 75? If he took 6 games off a year, would that be all right? That's what Cade Cunningham's at right now, 6 games. And we're at the midway point, by the way. So let's just say 6 games off. In his career, let's not count when he's 32. In his career, he played 76 games or more every single year except for 1991 when he was injured and he played 46 or played 48, excuse me. I'm sorry, his rookie year he played 72. Oh, God forbid. Other than that, he's playing 79, 78 games a year. Now, I'm not going to use LeBron James as an example because it's unfair. Because LeBron James plays more games than anybody in the history of the game because of the Olympics and all this other stuff, right? Going deep into playoffs. I mean, just ask him, he'll tell you. But the point is, when we talk about certain players today, and you don't want to hear about the old guys or the old regime, here's what the old guys did do. They played all the time. They played every game. Fewer playoff series, I understand that. Longer off season, I understand that. But if you're going to take all that away from them, you also have to give them the benefit of the doubt of what today's new players or younger players are access to. Personal trainers, personal tables, as in, food, or your own chef, the different types of weights, the different types of progress we have all made in nutrition, even though, you may have pancakes in the morning, the nutrition is possible, the nutrition and the fitness, and the people who are able to monitor that and what you need on a regular basis. I thought you'd find that interesting. This is not a knock on one specific player because I think other players, that's why we brought up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's why we brought up Jalen Brunson. I could look at Tyrese Maxey. His numbers are very similar to that of Cade Cunningham.
It's more of a discussion about how the league has changed over the last 30 years than it is about zeroing in on one player.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Greg Popovich. More on the other side. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
All right, back with you on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Thanks for being with us on this Tullymore Thursday. Let me get to a couple more texts. This from Freddie again. Why do fans and media always ask for the backup quarterback to be filled? It's crucial, even just a few games to get through. Then the team needs the backup QB. The fans, media check out and give zero chance when there are so many examples of it working, not just backup quarterback positions in sports. New England has no tape to watch on Stidham this year. I don't think they have to worry about watching Stidham this year. He was on New England. I think they know who he is. But you don't need tape from this year to watch Stidham. You're going to watch Denver tendencies. It's not Stidham as much as it is Sean Payton. You're scouting players, but you're counting schemes. You're scouting systems. You're scouting tendencies, no matter who's at the quarterback position or not. Now, are they going to call the game differently? Absolutely. Because he can't do or doesn't do, from what we've seen, that Bo Nix could do. But Stidham has enough tape out there where teams can access that and recognize his strengths and his weaknesses. Okay? So that's kind of, I think, what they're looking at and what they got to be prepared for.
Can I chime in on that quickly too? Because I think the difference here, the reason people are so out on Stidham with this game is because he hasn't thrown a pass this year. And I guess my example for you would be like, if the Lions did sneak into the playoffs, but Goff went down in the last game of the season, and then you're starting Kyle Allen in the playoff game, who the hell would pick the Lions?
Exactly. I mean,
that's how I see it. But
yeah, no one's picking Jarrett Stidham. I don't know why you would, but he has started 4 games in his career. Okay. He's played in 20 games in his career. It's not a huge sample size. He's thrown close to 200 passes in his career. We understand that. Okay. He's thrown as many interceptions as touchdowns. It's not like there's no tape on this guy from 2019, 20, 22, 23, 24, but there's nothing this year. Right. So I don't know how much that plays a factor. My guess is that New England's going to do everything they can to be ready for the different weapons that Denver has, the different scheming that Denver has, the different tendencies that Denver has in certain down and distances. Now, it might slightly change with Stidham at the helm for Bo Nix, but it probably won't change a ton. He just won't be able to make certain throws. You'll have to pare it down a little bit. We got to remember that these backup quarterbacks, they ready themselves every single game just in case. I think it's really difficult. How do you get ready for something that you know damn well you're not going to participate in all likelihood? But you have to be ready just in case. Not that it's exactly the same thing, but it's not too dissimilar from preparing for a broadcast. Of all the things you are ready in a broadcast, good play-by-play guys probably only use 20% of it. 25% of it. The rest you're having just in case. What if there's a rain delay? I remember there was a time we were calling Lions and Steelers in Pittsburgh, and there was a lightning delay, more than one. We waited for a long, long time. We couldn't go to regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, you got to fill time.
Because we were on, I believe we were on ABC then. I don't think it was CBS. So I did games on CBS and ABC when they had it. Well, ABC in Detroit. Then it was farmed out to the various networks throughout the state. The point is, you can't just say, "Oh, we'll go to some programming and we'll come back a little bit later on," like you do with Valley during a rain delay. During a rain delay, you've got something queued up that you can put out there. The network for the Lions, you can't do that. Or if it's a short rain delay, you may stay there. So one time we had Curtis Granderson in the booth, and we did an interview with Curtis Granderson. It was 20, 25 minutes that we did it. We didn't play any games. We just did that. And it was a really good interview. It was me, and it was Craig Monroe, it was Curtis Granderson. We had a great time reminiscing, talking about different things. Fortunately, you're prepared and you know that. But the Lions-Steelers thing, I mean, we were digging deep because it was a long delay. It was at least an hour. And we're digging deep on stuff. There's only so many times you can show, dark clouds, rain, and lightning in the background and tell people you're in a lightning delay. or nobody is in the stands because there's a huge sign at Heinz Field that says take cover, right? So how do you entertain an audience? You better be prepared. Well, it's the same thing is going to happen with Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham this whole season has been preparing like he's going to play. Now, he's only been in one game, as Trent said, hasn't thrown a pass, but he is prepared every single game like he was going to play. It's a difficult thing to do.
If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready, right? That's the cliche.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's an appropriate one. Let me bring this up. We already know that we've seen some big free agent signings, okay? Bo Bichette is signed with the Mets. The Mets just traded for Luis Robert Jr. too, by the way. Kyle Tucker has signed with the Dodgers. That's not a surprise. The rich get richer, although the deferred payments are very surprising. Look at the amount of money that Shohei Ohtani is going to make this year, and look at the deferred payment. The deferred payment is like $64 million. In other words, he's getting that later. They don't have to worry about it this year. Kyle Tucker is under something similar, all right, as far as deferment. But Kyle Tucker said something at his press conference the other day, and the Tigers don't have a press conference because you don't have one for Tyler Anderson. Whatever. So you're wondering why in the hell are all these guys going to LA? What Kyle Tucker said might be very interesting. Now, there's been some things that have come out in social media of sources from when Kyle Tucker was playing in Chicago on why they didn't want him back, or maybe they shouldn't have wanted him back, that he wasn't real engaging. He didn't look at a lot of reports. He was on his phone all the time at his locker, all these different things. I don't know if that's true. You know, the people who covered him on a daily basis would recognize that more than I would. I wouldn't put it past them because that's what today's players do. And it's been happening for a long time. They're off the court, they're off the ice, they're off the field, they're off the diamond. They go to they're on their phone. Hey, can I steal you for a second? Oh, sure. That's when they put it down. You'd like there to be more talking. But anyway, Tucker said this about the Dodgers. It's a big decision. You have to weigh out everything, him being a free agent. But this team in this city and the fan base kind of makes it a little bit easier to make some of those decisions. That's just completely what we wanted to do, is come here and be part of that and try to win another World Series. So I always wonder with free agents, are you going to a team that just won and worry about, can they stay hungry? Or can it be a team to duplicate what it just did after having so many good seasons by guys? You know, I mean, can they continue at that rate? Or do you go to a team that you think is on the upswing and is thirsty and hungry for a championship that they haven't had in years? Well, the difference with Tucker, according to his quote there, is that you've got the team, the city, and the fan base. What he's saying there is it's a commitment. It's a commitment to winning. He recognizes it. And just about every player recognizes that. And then it makes me go, what are they thinking about my team? That's what I'd love to know. The fan base is there. The city has changed and it's been better. What about the team? What about the franchise? What about the commitment to winning? Do you recognize it in that regard? Perhaps some of these guys don't. When some people say they don't want to be here, or free agents don't come here, maybe that's the reason more than anything else. Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21000. This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls High School Sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
I know how much you love football, and I know how much you thirst for Lions talk. Hi, this is Matt Shepard. Every Friday morning on X's and Bros at 8:35, we will dive deep into the Lions. What went right, what went wrong, and what we can expect next. We call it What's Brewing with Lions analyst Rob Rubik, brought to you by Ferris Coffee. He's going to join me every week to break down the Lions and their opponent. What's Brewing with Rubes, brought to you by Ferris Coffee, every Friday morning at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Hey, everybody. Matt Shepard here, reminding you that next week is one of the state's biggest and best weeks, especially this year. The rivalry of the year in college basketball is almost here. So whether you go green or go white or go blue, whichever way you fall, we got you covered. I want you to join me as I host the watch party during the game at Ascend inside Soaring Eagle. And if you don't win the tickets we're giving away via text next week, you can join Bill Simonson of The Huge Show on site 3 to 5 Friday afternoon at our friends at the Lansing Brewing Company. We're giving away another pair of tickets for the game there. So thanks to our friends at both Lansing Brewing Company and Soaring Eagle for supporting the rivalry and the rivalry week here on the Michigan Sports Network. I can't wait for that game, man. That's going to be special.
The more and more the time gets closer or the game gets closer, I mean, these teams just keep winning. They're looking good doing it.
They're winning different ways.
Yes. I think it's a great matchup, too.
I do, too. I'm
stylistically
super pumped. I'm super pumped for both of them, right? I mean, I think both. It wouldn't surprise me. This is so easy to say. It wouldn't surprise me if the two teams split this year. I love the tenacity of what MSU has done. That's not unusual. They do. This is how they play, and I love the depth and the size of Michigan. It's going to be awesome. We're really fortunate. We are. We're also fortunate that, as I said earlier in the show, in case you missed it and joined us late, John Gibson has been incredible for the Red Wings. In that last night, 30 saves, gets his 7th straight win, gets his 20th win of the season. Gibson, a 935 save during the 7-win run here for him. A 935 save percentage and a 1.83 goals against average. Perhaps, just perhaps, it might be Steve Yzerman's best move as a general manager. Drafting Mo Sider wasn't a bad move either. But from a trade standpoint, I don't think there's any question about it. I want you to think about what he's done. He's taken some shots, and for good reason, right? Just because you are arguably the greatest player in franchise history, Gordie Howe. But Steve Yzerman's right there in that discussion. Nick Lidstrom.
Numbers up there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Nick Lidstrom is in that conversation too. I don't know about Ted Lindsay and Terry Sawchuk. The numbers would tell you they're in the conversation. Alex Delvecchio, part of the production line. Sergei Fedorov, of course. But Steve Yzerman, most people look at it. Like, I would argue during my era, during my time on Earth, that Steve Yzerman is the most successful and most dominant athlete in Detroit sports history. Barry Sanders. Okay. How about most successful?
I mean,
how do you argue with that?
I was going to say there's no other argument there.
Right. You've got the dude's got 4 cups.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's pretty tough to argue that. He's also one of the greatest players the league's ever had. He was overshadowed by Gretzky and Lemieux during that time. His numbers are astounding. All you got to do is look it up. It's absolutely crazy. And I'm not saying he doesn't get enough credit, because he does. All right. That's the reason, Hockey Town and all this other stuff. But this is a guy who, in Detroit anyway, was viewed as a player as he was a god. He could have run for governor and won, probably, just because of who he is. Okay. But if you look at Steve Yzerman and you put him up against some of the greatest of all time, he is there. If I ask you where you think he ranked all time in points, where do you think he ranks? I'm talking about NHL history now, not talking about the Red Wings. NHL history. Where do you think he ranks? Any idea? Not going there because of hockey?
Actually, Shep, I was just getting off the phone with Don Fisher. He called us.
The answer is 7th. He is 7th all time. And that might blow some people's minds, but it's true. This move that he's made has been really good for this team. He's 10th all time in goals. So we have Don. We have my friend Don Fisher. He is the award-winning Hall of Fame and outstanding play-by-play voice of not just Indiana football, but also Indiana basketball. How many people can say they have a national championship ring as a broadcaster in football and basketball? Not many. There's only one guy who can say he called a team's perfect season in basketball and a perfect season in football, and it's Don Fisher. Congratulations, my friend. You deserve this.
Matt, it's such a cool thing without question, and I apologize for being late with this today.
Don't worry about
I literally had my alarm not go off this morning and got up here and immediately realized what an idiot I am. And
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm so happy for you. I really am. I'm so happy for you. The obvious question is, how surprised are you? But I would ask you instead, why shouldn't we be surprised, considering what your team accomplished a year ago and the path on which your coach has led this program?
And that's why I'm not surprised, Matt, because I went to 10 of his first 13 practices in the spring a year ago. And I was mesmerized by how this guy went about his business as a coach, as a CEO of the program, so to speak, and what he did, how he gets guys to buy in, and his philosophy in general. And everything that he told us in his opening press conference about how he went about things was exactly what happened and how it was done. I was so impressed with the man, and that's one of the reasons that I'm not surprised that this has happened. I mean, from an Indiana perspective, as a guy that's been doing this for as long as I have, the number of years that we've had really poor football, the number of years where we just had mediocre football, and the rare years where we did have really good teams. From all of those perspectives alone, I knew this guy was different after having watched his first practices in the spring of 2024. And all of a sudden now it comes to fruition. And I looked at this, Matt, and you know this as well as anybody. Bob Knight was one of the great basketball coaches of all time, and not just in Indiana, but in college basketball. And I always thought going into games, having watched that guy coach, that we always were going to win. Now we always didn't, but I always felt like we were going to win the ball game. That's exactly how I felt this year with Curt Cignetti.
You know the perception of him, the seriousness, the looks on the sidelines. You've heard it all. What about him is different than what everybody else feels or thinks they see, and thus come to a conclusion about him?
I think that's the one thing that impresses me the most about him is his dedication to watching football, to being engrossed with football. I mean, aside from his family, it's about the only thing he cares about. And I say that in the sense that he watches more film. He does a better vetting job of players and possible players for the program, going through the transfer portal, looking for the guys he thinks have the right stuff, so to speak, character, toughness, the way they go about their business on the field, the way they go about their business off the field. He vets everybody. He vets coaches. He vets the people that come into the department that are employees of the football program, managers. There's nobody that he doesn't vet coming in as a CEO of the program. And he's the guy that does it. He does almost all of that stuff. And you can just tell that he knows what he's doing. He's never wavered in any way, shape, or form. Everything he did last year, he did this year. It was the same way. It was done exactly the same way. And he's one of those guys that never stops preaching the same things, the process, how to go about stuff from a practice standpoint, how to go about getting ready for games, those kinds of things. He's just amazing in that regard. And again, I think the film watching that he does in getting ready for a football game of the opponent, finding their weaknesses, it reminds me so much of Bob Knight, because that's the one thing I thought Bob Knight was the best at. He could watch film and break down where the weaknesses were and try to take advantage of those weaknesses to beat teams. And most of the time he was able to do it. And so yet Cignetti's the same way.
Yeah, those teams always well prepared. So much is made of Fernando Mendoza, and for good reason. You win the Heisman Trophy, you deserve it. You throw for over 3,500 yards, and you're as good in the red zone as he was, 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the season, people should talk about Fernando Mendoza. But what's the underrated part of the Hoosiers? Because I loved Hardy, Jones, and Fisher. No relation to you, with all due respect. Loved Aiden Fisher. I love the linebackers for the Hoosiers. What was the underrated part that people overlooked, do you think?
Well, I think there were a couple of things. The one thing from a defensive standpoint, I don't think anybody thought that our defensive line this year was going to be as good as it was last year. And it turned out to be just the opposite. These guys were as good, if not better, in most cases. And they probably did it with a couple of more guys than they did a year ago, because most of the time last year, the guys that were up front were the only guys that played any meaningful minutes when the game was out of line, of course, or when a game was in hand, which was best of the time last season. They played other people, but the guys that were important and keys were the same guys all the time last year. This year they had several that were guys that were really critical to the team, but they didn't have to play as many snaps. And so I think, and on the other side of the ball, from an offensive standpoint, Matt, this is the best offensive line Indiana's had probably ever. And I say that because I thought some of the Bill Mallory offensive lines were really good, really tough, physical guys. This offensive line was that too. Now, they got tested in this Miami ball game like no other. And the only other one I would classify it with close would be with the Iowa, because that team was really physical. And that was a tough offensive line and tough defensive line. But I think the offensive and defensive lines were the biggest thing. And, Matt, I'm going to tell you this, and I've felt this my entire career here at Indiana. That's where Indiana's always failed. Both the offensive and defensive lines. They've never been able to recruit up until Curt Cignetti got here on a consistent basis, really good offensive and defensive linemen, because Indiana's reputation was always that they were going to lose. They were not going to be the team that won those ball games. And so it was really hard to get the guys that, the hogs up front, so to speak, that you needed. And on both sides of the football. And I think that was what was most underrated.
They have done the Big Ten proud, and the Big Ten in general has done a hell of a job, not just in college football playoff, but in the postseason in general. Do you think the pendulum has shifted? Do you think more people will start to give respect to your conference now rather than constantly taking a knee to the SEC?
I think there are a lot of people right now that think the Big Ten is better than the SEC.
Yeah,
you
the top of it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about the Big Ten this year in the event. I mean, you still had Oregon, you still had Ohio State, you had these really top-notch programs out of the Big Ten, and more so than the SEC. And the SEC had nobody left after the first or second round. So in my mind, the Big Ten has probably overtaken the SEC a little bit, not by much, because we know that the athletes they have in the SEC are some of the best. I just think that Big Ten football these days is really, really good for the most part. It's not dramatically above the SEC, but it's right there with them. And that's what I like the most, because the SEC has been crowing their entire all these years now about how great they are, and they ought to have more guys in the playoffs and all these kinds of things. And the fact of the matter is, Indiana and the rest of the Big Ten teams that played this year handled most of those actions and were able to win games over those teams. So I just look at it as the Big Ten is as good, if not better, than any conference in the country.
Hey, the last thing for you, I learned so much from you. I know you don't always feel that way, but that you're only reaching Indiana people, but that's not completely untrue. Learned so much from you in calling games and preparation and your professionalism and your relationship with coaches. But you've got a lot of rings in your drawer. Okay, you've got three national basketball championship rings. I don't know if you're going to wear this one or not. That's none of my business. But from an emotional standpoint, just from a football standpoint, on how you felt, were you overcome with much emotion during your call at all?
in this championship game, I thought I was really going to be mad because I can tell you, the only time there have been maybe twice that I've had tears running down my cheeks because of championships. And the first was 1976. That was the first time I was ever a part of anything like that. Obviously, the year before, that team in 75 was a 31-1 team, got to the Mideast Regional, didn't have Scott May for that particular year because he, as a junior, he got hurt late in the season in a Purdue basketball game that knocked him out for the most part of any play in the postseason, and it cost Indiana what we thought would have been another national championship. And Bob Knight said the 75 team was better than the 76 team that did win it, unbeaten. So that would tell you, because that team went 31-1. But I was emotional in that 76 game because of what it meant and the fact that I was a pup, 29 at that time. I got the job when I was 26, and I was 29 at the time. And to be a part of that as a young broadcaster, it just kind of sent tears down my cheeks when I was calling the last minute and a half of that game, watching those players celebrate. So that's the most emotional I think I've ever been. And I really have, as an old man here, Matt, I felt like I've been more emotional in a lot of different things, listening to some things that you've done and things like that in the past, and how excited you were, having done what you did. So I thought I was probably really going to be emotional in this game, and I wasn't. I was just elated. I was just so excited about what this team accomplished and what they accomplished for the Hoosier Nation, the people that had stuck it out through thick and thin, all the years of paying for season tickets and not getting anything out of it and those kinds of things. So I was so gratified for our Hoosier fans and the people that had supported the program back in the day. So for me, that was emotional, but not to the point of tears. I was just happy for these people. And I was happy for myself being able to do something that, we'd never been able to do in football.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I know that Hoosier Nation is so grateful to have you on that call for as long as you've been, as great as you've been. Thanks for the time this morning. I'm really happy for you. Have a great basketball season. Keep up the great work. Hope we can talk down the road. All the best.
Absolutely, Matt. I appreciate your friendship, buddy.
You bet. Me too. Don Fisher, the best in the Big Ten. He really is. He's amazing. If you haven't had a chance, get Sirius Radio and listen to him, and you'll really appreciate it. He is so good. He is so steady, and he is the ultimate pro. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We didn't get to the Daily Wager by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. We
Probably a
didn't get
good
the
thing.
Results of the poll question. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll be back with you at 6 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
It's time to go on the court.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because